Hello and welcome to Kaiserreich, patch 0.84, the beauty of the Antilles. For those of you who haven't seen my other little mini video whereby I ran through the patch notes and things, we had a bit of a problem. Argentina, or rather the Argentinian save, is no more, so we're jumping into a brand new campaign today as the good old US of A, leading them out of their isolation into their civil war, and perhaps into glory. The condor shall rise. Oh, actually, a condor's probably not the right creature. The eagle shall rise, I guess, is more apt, but we've got the German eagle, so I'd rather not have another eagle. I'm sure I'll think of something. I'll come up with the name for what rises. Guess it might be the Union rises again, if depends if we end up playing as the AUS. I think that might be my plan to play as the American Union state, the Southern lot. Don't really want to play as the Syndicalists because it's kind of just easy mode, because you then just smash Canada, you then smash Mexico or get Mexico to join you, and then you end up just unstoppable. We want to know everything, and this is cool. It's an update, it's a thing that's been added. Place names change, so you can have either British English names or, alternatively, the local name, La Habana. Perfect, love it a lot. So, smash out our research. It's going to be the standard start. Machine tools, construction, electronic mechanical engineering, and then some old infantry weapons from 1918. With our civilian factories. Now, with the intention being we're most likely going to be playing as the AUS, I'm not going to build factories down here. I'm going to split them a bit. So we're going to build some in California, some in Wisconsin, some in New Orleans, some in Pennsylvania. Actually, does Pennsylvania go to New England? Some in West Virginia. There we go. So, factories should end up fairly split a bit more evenly. We're not just going to be building them for the sake of building them. We're going to drop these planes off the radar. We're going to need to grab a carrier fighter dude and a naval bomber dude for carriers. That leaves us with 2 factories, support equipment, and motorized? No, perhaps not. I don't really know what we should build with them, to be honest with you. It's a bit of a waste. I suppose we'll just make some guns. And these guys will just ratchet in convoys. There's no point building any more capital ships for them just to get sunk in the Civil War. It's a little bit meta-gaming-y, I know, but what more could we ask for? Now we've got this cool focus tree, but most of it is locked because the Civil War's not kicked off or been voided, and we're not going to waste time doing the US Navy or US Air Force trees. Actually, I might do the Navy one. What do you get? Is there anything we actually get? Just research techs. National Spirit. Don't actually get given anything, do you? Well, actually, it depends. So, hang on. If we do Fleet Carrier Plan, so that requires us to do Defending American Trade. That can allow us to do everything. That requires we've done Great White Fleet. Got you. Expand dockyards. One of the following. So we have to have done either battleship development, coast guard, or naval aviation. Or, well, so any one of those unlocks that, which gives us 2 naval dockyards. And then you can just do these anyway. Okay. Also, if you can hear that in the background, I don't know if you can. It's, the rather exciting news of laundry. My microphone should be pointing away from it in such a way as you cannot hear it. But I can't be sure, so I apologise on that front. And the background music as well should overrule it. Anyway, so we'll leave the national focuses on the go. We'll train up, for argument's sake, 3 infantry divisions. Just get them going. we'll assign all our dudes to one army, and we'll move the Panama Canal garrison out of the Panama Canal and sit them over in Miami. And with that, let time fly. The US in 1936. It is 1936. The United States of America is gripped by unrelenting crises. Although able to avoid the horrors of the Weltkrieg, which allowed its prosperity to continue well into the 20s, the German victory in the Weltkrieg, followed by the French and British revolutions, led to the Wall Street crash of 1925. This sent the US spiralling into a Great Depression and allowed the Berlin stock market to take its rightful place at the forefront of the world economy. The election of Herbert Hoover in 1928, while initially promising, failed entirely to reverse the decline of the American economy. And by 1936, the country had spent well over a decade in the midst of the worst financial crisis it had ever seen. This fueled the rise of radical parties in America, from the far left to the far right. Hoover's contentious re-election by means of the House of Representatives in 1932, and the ongoing Great Depression means that these problems are unlikely to be resolved anytime soon. Many throughout the country fear the upheaval this would result should one of the extreme parties come to power, or should the Depression continue unabated. God save America! Now, one thing I've noticed in this latest patch is performance is backwards and strange as anything. So, the first time I tried recording this video, I had a crash to desktop about halfway through 36, and then which resulted in the video getting corrupted and me going, okay, right, we'll start again. Also, Kerensky got shot. Then I decided, right, just to see if this is a crash to desktop that's going to regularly occur, I played through on high speed, just blitzed through 2 or 3 times, and it was fine. But time just flowed randomly as all hell. Like, if you look at it now in the background, it's going really quickly, other times really slowly, and I can't really find rhyme or reason to it. But in any event, with violence and instability sweeping the country, the AFP, American First Party, and the SPA, the Syndicalist Party of America, or Socialist Party of America rather, have begun to form various militias, which they claim are necessary to protect the people. The AFP have called their group the Minutemen, while the SPA the Red Guard. Seem trawling their strongholds and party rallies. These well-armed and equipped paramilitary units have already engaged in scattered, though extremely violent conflicts. We believe the paramilitary are modifying civilian firearms, and the FBI's attempt to seize weapons stockpiles are too slow to stop gun runners. This could turn very bad, very fast. Well, there goes some stability. Let's have a look at our navy. We have a bunch of ships. We have 2 main battle fleets. The US Navy Pacific Battle Fleet with the Yorktown Experimental Carrier and a fighter and naval bomber wing. A bunch of a 1924 Super Heavy Dreadnought, a 1922 Heavy Dreadnought, the Missouri and the Nebraska. A bunch of late World War I dreadnoughts and early ones. Some fast battleships from the early 20s. A fairly old dreadnought. And then it seems a lot of the lighter crew or the heavy cruisers, these early armoured cruisers, are quite old. The Weltkrieg, but our destroyer fleet is fairly good, including those. But I'm imagining there's going to be some older ones somewhere. Put a chap in charge. There we go. What do we have on the other side in the Atlantic? Much the same. Couple of heavy dreadnoughts, though the Nebraska, our best dreadnought, is on the other side. A slightly worse carrier, which needs some planes on it. We'll modify that air wing by making you up to 18? Is that math right? I need to add 12 on. It was on 6. 16, 17, 18. Yeah, there we go. Also, these need changing. I'm not having this. I am not having this. Air wing details. CAG? Cap. Close air protection. And you guys can be the Actually, we'll change these. Naval Bomber Squadron. Langley. Naval Bomber Squadron Langley. You're going to be Fighter Squadron Langley. I like naming things. I apologise. There we go. And I'll do... Oh god, these are going to all need renaming as well, aren't they? Right, anyway. That's the navies. We have a bunch of older ships, like the Seattle fleet that I'm guessing is going to be World War I, and yeah. We have some submarines. The Caribbean Patrol Fleet, based out of Panama. You're getting renamed. US Navy Panama Squadron. I don't know if the Americans even call them squadrons, actually. They probably don't. I know that's a British naming convention. Got the Totalist Charter. Oh, we need some rubber. We will buy our rubber from probably Japan, actually. If they have any. They do not have any. Siam is a kingdom. The Dutch are authoritarian democrats. They're paternal autocrats, so I don't really want any of them. South America, Brazil. Brazil is at least a democracy. Profits from the legation cities, huzzah, and the 5th Anglo-Afghani War kicks off. Oh, good. If only one Great Depression wasn't enough, now we have the German one hitting us as well, and the French don't know how to elect anybody. Coalition ticket. So, in 1936, the election is looking to be one of the most contentious in American history. Many politicians within the upper circle of the Republicans and the Democratic parties fear that a victory by the SPA or the AFP would mean the end of the American way of life. In order to avoid this, a plan has been proposed. Progressive Senator Floyd Olson of Minnesota is the presidential candidate on a joint ticket between the Republicans and the Democrats. This plan is unlikely to be popular with lower-ranking members of the parties, but it may be the only thing that can prevent them from gaining strength. I mean, I don't really want to avoid the Civil War, and I think this is the way you do it, but I'm not sure if it's guaranteed to avoid it. So we're going to say a coalition will debase us. It will debase the very spirit of our great party. The Republicans and the Democrats shall never join together. Blah, 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 so on and so forth. Black Mondays hit us. Well, this just isn't our year. The crash got worse. The Great Depression is now... So I believe we have the Great Depression and why? What? Well, there they are. I don't know why that seemed confusing. I was expecting them here for some reason. Anyway, we have the political crisis, a little bit of dividends from the legation cities, and then the Great Depression. Also, it's been kicked off. The Dominion of India has taken Peshawar province from Afghanistan, I believe. No. Is it just Quetta? Have they actually taken no land? They've taken... Oh, it's... That must start, like, split or something, because that's strange. Ooh! A raving loon! Not the democracy thing. 3 years ago today, Father Charles Coughlin began a weekly radio broadcast in America, and now has an audience of over 50 million people. He is a raving anti-Semite who claims that the syndicalist revolution in France was fomented by the Jew, and that the Berlin stock market is an international conspiracy of Jewish bankers. Well, he seems lovely, doesn't he? With his hate speech. Well, we have a... I mean, they're socially liberal, so realistically... So a social liberal would denounce his views, but argue that he has the right to say them. No, that would just be a normal liberal. That would be more like the Democratic moderates, rather than the... No, that would definitely be the Republicans. The Republicans would be like, I hate what he says, but I defend his right to say it. Whereas the sort of Democratic conservative side, the hardliners, or the conservative part of the Democratic Party, rather. Because remember, at this time, it was kind of flipped. The Republicans were quite socially liberal and lefty, and the Democrats were quite righty. and now obviously it's back the other way, but they kept switching back and forth. I'm going to say they would shut him down, because, I mean, yeah, no, we're not having anti-Semitism, and I'm not allowing it anyway. So, goodbye, sir! And speaking of things that could kick things off, the Bulgarians are at it, or the Romanians, rather. Yep, no, there we go. So the Romanians are having a move off in Carpathia land over here. Oh good, a flood. On March 16th, 36, warmer than usual temperatures led to the melting of large amounts of snow and ice in Upper Allegheny and Monongahela rivers. The rivers and their tributaries had already overflowed, and their banks were soon threatening the city of Pittsburgh. On March 17th, the waters reached the flood stage of 25 foot. Then overnight, heavy rain caused the water to rise even further. 46 feet! Jesus. That does not sound pleasant. We must help these people. So I wonder what happened in Russia land. Also, St. Peter has a new person in it. Well, they're still deciding. They haven't yet worked out who they want to lead their glorious country. But they will get there soon. I'm hoping for the guy with funky hair. You'll see what I mean. There's a dude with really funky hair. It's kind of like a reverse flat 2D afro that goes sideways. Yeah, no, that doesn't make much sense, really. Hopefully they pick him and you can see what I mean. We'll hope. We'll cross our fingers. Go, the tech is rolling in. And we immediately get more tech. It's one thing that I don't really like about the tech system in HOI. Is that your picks are so obvious all the time. Speaking of obvious picks, we only have one option here. And it's to lose more stability. But stop right there, criminal scum. So I'm America. I know I'm going to get a lot of bonuses to my naval doctrines, air, naval, land. I'm going to get those bonuses. So I'll wait until I get them at the focus tree. So I'm not going to waste a bonus. You always want to get, in nearly every strategy game in the history of all time, any research that gives you quicker research is automatically perfect. Oh great, people are radicalizing. That's lovely. And you want to get those as soon as it's feasible to do so. Who shall win the 36th Stanley NHL Cup Championship finally? I don't understand American sport. Will it be the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are from Canada, and the Detroit Red Wings, who are from Detroit, in America? And the answer is, it is the Toronto Maple Leafs, who have taken the Stanley Cup. It is their 4th victory in the final. Hooray! But anyway, you're always going to want to grab these industry techie things quickly, because it boosts your industry. You're going to want to backfill some of this stuff, but then you just slam in the bonus, and if you've got enough tech slots, it's not ever going to... That's quite cool. They've got names. It's not ever going to get in the way. You're just going to fill it up, and it'll be fine. And then there's some things that you just never know you're never going to want to take. Like, for example, the 1941 Light Tank 3. Or the T-95. I hate the super heavy tanks. I just... Right, first of all, special election in New Jersey. New Jersey is Democratic land. It's about here. So we're going to say the Democratic Party took it. And May Day riots, the SPA are at fault, or the police. Well, the SPA apparently had guns, so they started it, they kicked it off. We will intervene, Panama. We will defend your right as a country and as a nation. Or are we defending Costa Rica? I don't know. We're defending one of them. We're intervening. Panama backs down. The doctrine of Monroe stands. Oh. This is an event I've not seen before. I know about the Panama one, but not this one. Disaster struck the otherwise quiet little nation of Costa Rica when the... Oh my word. Whew! Here we go. It's a big one. It's a German one. The Zentralamerikanische Kaffeegesellschaft. Zentralamerikanische Kaffeegesellschaft. That's a big one. That's a very big one, isn't it? But judging by where the letters are, I'm going to assume that is the Central American Coffee Company. And I'm also going to assume it crashed hard and fast, and it's dragging Costa Rica down with it. We're going to offer them some assistance. I mean, they're in our neck of the woods. We can't have German businesses competing on rightful American clay. And we might get something out of it. You never know. Oh. Research first, then this other stuff. We will grab radio. And then we will jump in and grab disper. Actually, with America, you have so many factories concentrated. Makes more sense. Where is it? Washington. I presume that's Washington, Washington, Canada land. Seattle way. Near Oregon. That's Oregon, isn't it? Yeah. In which case... I mean, Seattle's quite industrial. It's quite populated. It's not as populated as, like, Northern California. Tell you what, the Democratic Party, he's got a cool name. John Main Coffee. He takes it. He's got a cool name. Is it something in the water? Oh no! The progressives are flocking to the SPA! So, who's doing well in the old party politics spectrum right now? The Socialist Party of America are on 6, 17, 17, 27, 20, 26-ish, 26, 27-ish %. The Progressives have barely any support. The Republicans are on 10. The Democrats are on 8 and 8 is 16, 17 and a bit, about 17 and a half. And then the American First are on 10, 25, 26, 27, plus 5. I could do it. 27, 33. 27 plus 5, 33, 32. 32%. So, it's all fairly much of a muchness between the Socialist Party and the American First Party. But the centrists, they're losing ground, and they're losing ground fast. Also, I can't math, so I apologise most profusely on the math front. Oh, we have a civil war in America. The Soviets have kicked things off. There's Bukharin himself. It's kicking off big styly. Has the actual war started, or have they just made their... The war hasn't started yet, but it's about to go down big styly. Oh, and we have the death of Big Bill Haywood, which makes the syndicalists more popular. I wonder if that's because he died, or because, like, it espoused his ideas more in the media when he died, so, like, all the newspapers were quoting things he said. Well, oh god, it's all happened. It's all happened all at once. The Southern Democrats are going for it, the death of Big Bill Haywood. The Soviets are going for it, there's been a coup in Siam. We now have a different Siamese prince, man. Yeah, no, there's no hope I'm pronouncing that right. The Soviets are pushing hard. They've almost reached Nizhny Novgorod. Oh, and now we have a heat wave. Just what we always wanted. Now we have dust bowls and a depression. Huzzah. Just as happened historically. And what led to Hoover's downfall versus Roosevelt historically. He just completely mishandled the heatwave crisis and the now added, oh great, more support for the Trotskys. Well, actually they're not Trotskys, are they? The Sindhis. Looking like that could be a nice little pocket there for the Soviets if they took that province and that province. Cut off some of the, well actually take that one. Cut that off first, then swing round. You've got that. Take Vologda. Move in. There's a lot of pocket potential there. Clear up to this river. Nice defensive line. Oh, I love this event. Mostly because it's one of my favourite books. Margaret Mitchell published today her novel Gone with the Wind, which immediately became a bestseller and may be nominated for the next Pulitzer Prize. Even Hollywood is taking notice and is planning a film adaptation to be released next year. Set in the Old South during the American Civil War, many see it as an analogy for the strained political situation in the US. Many America First Southerners claim the novel supports their cause. Well, frankly, my dear, I just don't give a damn. Sorry for butchering the quote, sorry for butchering the accent, but thank God it's such a good... Oh, good. Violence! We have a heat wave, but now it's not just a heat wave, it's a violence wave. Perfect! We need to research a thing. I don't really need any of those yet. That could come in handy. We could start that. Don't really want to waste any of that. The P-36 Hawk makes sense. And we're getting fairly close to being able to... Oh my god, that's a lot of... We're going to have to work that through later. So how are the... Oh, MacArthur has spoken to Hoover about a contingency plan. That's useful. So they're outnumbered. They have more manpower, which could come in handy. They're losing the air war. They've got the same number of milfacs, which means they can probably sustain losses slightly better. Also, is that is cut off. They have a pocket. Something else the Sovies could do would be to cut across here. Take this, pocket whatever's in there. It'd be quite an aggressive pocket. But they have been pushed back because, if you remember, they were right up here. And pushed out of that. They've still got a couple of decent positions, though. And they own the state there. Are there any other VPs that would give them a flip on a state? Oh, the Battle of Kursk has been lost. Oh, and Siamese Man's coup's been counter-couped and defeated. So it's now... Wait, what? I don't quite know. That was the same guy, wasn't it? Oh, I don't know. Poland's elected a king. Come on. Literally, just take, like, one province there. Or there, even. Get these guys saved. We want a nice, strong Soviets, just to make the world a bit more interesting. Because if we're going an American Union state... Well, actually, I suppose what I could do is I could say, I'll go American Union state if we have Soviets. Oh, no. Ugh. We've got that. We've also got the Siamese Civil War. Not the Siamese, sorry. The Vietnamese Civil War. Or War of Independence. Great, more violence. It's all kicking off, and it's all kicking off quick. Yes, that pocket got defeated. How's the manpower thing going? See, they've got tons of manpower, but not very many divisions. You guys might want to get, like, some sort of... You must unlock additional comrades. How does that work? Yeah, the Soviets are quite weak. But this civil war does weaken Russia, especially if it lasts a long time. I would imagine you've probably got, yeah, Lend-Lease from the Germans, the Canadians, the Australians, the Ukrainians. Any volunteers? Yep, volunteers. Oh, good, the heatwave's over. And then over here you've got France helping out. I mean, it would make sense for me to actually send an attaché or something. Or would it? We've got another infantry division. You guys can be stationed in Cleveland, Ohio. I suppose we should put someone in charge of this army. There we go. Oh, good. More support for the nut jobs in Parliament, or Senate, Congress, so on. So how does it look now? We've got 15, 17... 42% of the people support the socialists. 10, 22, 32, 40, 32, sorry. 20, 30, 39, 43. 43. Bleeding heck, that's close. Of course we will help you, Liberia. So that's... yeah. 42, pretty much dead split between both of them. And then barely anyone supporting the government anymore. This just is not our year, is it? Though that's shifted support back to these parties because these guys are fighting, so that's good news. Oh, we have a researchy slot available. I'll just start doing these ahead of time. Another division, the Sightseeing 6th, who are going to go sightsee in Detroit City. Detroit Rock City. Another little look at the Soviet Civil War. Oh, that could be a big encirclement, actually. I don't know how many divisions are stuck in there. But it does look a bit suspiciously like the White Russians are at the gates of Moscow almost now. Yeah, their division count's going down. Their division count is hovering, and they're clearly out of manpower, but... yeah. And these guys don't even get that. That's ridiculous. The Soviets just boned in this, I'm sure of it. I don't know how the Soviets can win. At this point, I certainly think they can't win, but... oh wow, this is strange. I've never seen the Weltkrieg do so well. Was Tibet not in the war? Oh, Tibet never joined. So it's a straight up 1v1 between Pants on Head Crazy Man and the Weltkrieg, and the Weltkrieg outnumber him. Like, you really need those 5 divisions, kind of. Then again, he's getting the God of War. Oh, who wins the election? Right. Counting time. Socialists, 17.2 plus 13 plus 6. So, 17, 27, 31 we'll call it. We'll call that 31. So we'll call it 37. 37 for the Socialist Party. America First, 10, 29, 35, 36, 37. So the America First Party under Huey Long win the election. There he is. And as his first act in power, he is going to research some more industry things. And he is also going to do a police crackdown, because that makes sense. And we still can't do anything over here, can we? No. What event? Oh, they've contested the election results. There's also an election in Italy. I wonder if they'll contest the results. Yeah, the Russians are on their last legs. Or, well, the Soviet Russians are on their last legs. The rest of the Russians are doing alright. Oh, Hoover criticises the president, but Hoover does not matter. We have such a small army, it's ridiculous. What's that, about 100,000? 86, Jesus. We don't even have enough guns, do we? No, didn't think we did. But we are slowly building up a nice stockpile of other things. Not that the other things will be much use if we get crushed by the syndicalist scum. Also, my god, Canada has such a large army, it's ridiculous for the nation their size. I mean, sure, we do have a ridiculous amount of civilian factories, but, like, no other factories. And sure, we are still building civilian factories, but they build so slowly, it's ridiculous. Oh, Mexico's probably got a larger army than we do. Yeah. Mexico does, in fact, have a larger army than we do. So we could barely beat Mexico in a war. How does that make you feel? Start building this new fighter. Start researching. I don't really know. Well, actually I do know. Start researching the Grumman F3F. Awesome biplane. Not quite as nice as the F4F, which I don't believe is one of the localized options. Oh no, you do get the Wildcat. And then that'll be the F6. Huh? Is that the one? That's the Hellcat. That's the F4F. What about the, Well, that's not going to cause a problem at all. A strike on New Year's. Oh, and Moscow falls. The one with the one with the folding wings. Oh god, it could be that one, the F6F, the Hellcat. What's that then? The SB2C1S Helldiver, Banshee. I don't know much about American close air support. I know about these though: the BTD Destroyer, the Avenger naval version, and the Devastator. I know about those, but I'm confused. That doesn't take much to confuse me, so there you go. The P-80 Shooting Star, a terrible, terrible plane in history. The Sabre wasn't much better. We have our inaugural address. I wonder how many people showed up. Hopefully a few. I suppose I could do solidify control. Improve our pie popularity. No, there's no point, is there? Executive Order 7037. Approved. And with that, and the turn of the new year, 1937, I'm going to be calling this video to a close. We have Mr. Long in charge of the United States of America. Things are going to kick off soon. The Civil War will start. Probably around the same time this Civil War over here ends. And we are going to be playing as the American Union Party, the American Union State. The South might not rise again, but from the ashes of the US of A, America will be saved by Huey Long. And with that, I've been James, your host. If you've liked it, like it. If you want to see more of it, subscribe to it. And otherwise, thank you, and have a good night.